Hello and welcome or welcome back to what Heather did. Forgot what we're doing. It's like welcome to something. Okay, so this project has been almost a year in the making. Yeah. Some things happened. Anyway, I'm now almost-ish done-ish. But this video is being released before I'm completely done because I want to be, I'm going to see if I can still add my video. I don't know. There's a Beach Please challenge hosted by Copper Cactus DIYs, and I was like, oh, I really want to do this. This is perfect for what I've been doing, and then things just happened. The video was supposed to be uploaded yesterday, and things just have happened. Life has happened, and it didn't quite get done. I'm actually still not quite done, but I'm further along and done with everything I could do right now, like for the part that would go with this video. So I'm making this video and I'll make it a two-part video, which makes sense because it's a lot anyway. And so here's my original intro that I recorded explaining the project and why I'm sitting in a bathroom. Okay, am I in a bathroom? Yes, I am in a bathroom. There's my puppy right here. So, here's what this is my kid's bathroom. I very rarely come in here, unless I have to. They're in charge of the cleaning and all the things. But that also means that sometimes when problems happen, I don't know right away unless they tell me. Now, this sink, there were some things that were just weird about it when we moved in, and I kind of just kept putting little band-aids on it because it's kind of one of those projects. It's like if you give a mouse a cookie, this needs to be done, but if I'm going to do that, I might as well do this. And honestly, if I'm going to do that, I should probably do this because it needs to be done too. And you just end up with this whole thing. So you see the puppy tail right there? A whole bunch of things that need to be done. Back up. There we go. So it now needs to be fixed. The sink doesn't drain. And there's some problems with the little thing broke. Usually broke. All the pieces broke. And I bought a little temporary ones that you take out and stuff. And it started growing stuff and it just was so gross. I just threw that away. And then it's been sitting there, it's just this big open hole. But I'm like, I just need to replace this whole thing anyway. Because look, it's not even attached. I can't lift it up because there's water in the sink. But this is one piece and it's not attached. That's a problem. Also, I don't know if you can see right here at the back where that corner is, there's a 1/2-inch gap because the wall isn't square, right? So when they put this pre-made thing in there and just stuck it in there, well, the wall's not square, so there's a 1/2-inch gap at the back where that doesn't meet, which when you have kids using the bathroom isn't great. No, sir. You don't get to go that direction. It's not great. So there was that. So I need to fix that. But then it's also not attached, which with kids also isn't great. The faucet is okay-ish, but it needs to be replaced too. Okay, so here's where we are. The lower cabinet, it was if you give a mouse a cookie. It wasn't just redo the plumbing underneath. I needed to do the sink and all that, and I needed a new countertop. And if I'm doing the new countertop, I might as well redo the vanity portion as well and some other things. So it's not done. Also, before I forget, because I am definitely frazzled, it is the end of the day and I still gotta make a video. Don't forget to check out the playlist in the description below. Playlist link in the description below. The other videos are really cool. So, not that I was watching videos instead of doing this. Certainly not. So the first step is to cut my plywood down. I have 3/4-inch plywood, and I'm using this little saw guide from Miles Craft to cut it down to the size I need for what's already there. And this sheet also was enough for the countertop, but also the two pieces that were going to serve as like the backsplash, which you don't have to have, but the sink that's currently in there has one on the back, and I don't want to have to repaint the wall to cover that up. So we're going to put a backsplash, and you know, I'm calling it side splash because it's on the side. And then because my wall's not square, I used a template to cut that to the right size that I needed. Or shape, not size. Right shape. So it'll fit in that corner. And to make the edges look pretty, I'm going to do just a little round over on the front and then the side that's by the toilet. But then there's also this little part that comes out past the wall on the side that's against the wall. So I had to do all of those edges. And the boards for the backsplash. The parts of those. And you can see my little test board. You should always use a little test board. Once I finish this, it's time to start painting. And I know this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. In fact, there are probably already some people that are wondering why I'm using wood to begin with, but I am. But this is my children's bathroom. So I let them pick the design. And this is what they wanted it to look like. They said it was similar to what I'd done on a Maximalist Challenge piece. And I was having a really good time with this. And I let them pick all the colors. Those are the colors they picked. And just wet the wood down. I didn't sand this beforehand. I sanded the edges where I routed, but I didn't sand any of this beforehand because I'm spraying it. So then I'm gonna need to do like a light sand after to knock all the wood grain back down. And I just put little drops of paint and lots of water and just use my hand. And again, I know this is not going to be for everybody. This probably isn't what I would have done. But it's for my kids. It's their bathroom. So they get to decide what goes in there. And any excess paint, I just wiped off with a paper towel and then a little bit more water and different colors where I wanted them and just spread them back out. I used my hand for this whole thing. I did not use any paintbrushes. And where the paint's still wet, got a little bit of blending. And you can add paint as you like, cover things up. It is still wet, so it'll blend a little bit, but it works out well. I went a little bit too crazy with the paint here. I did skip sections, so like the first section could dry before I mixed the paint there. So that was intentional. That's why I'm skipping around. And yes, this is way too much paint. It's okay. You just wipe off the excess and fix anything you need to fix. Okay, and then you have to let it sit for almost 7 months. there were other projects. I got the sink working, and then so this got put on the back burner, but now it's not working again, so I gotta fix it. So mark the center, just use a straight edge, find your center, and then this is the template that comes with the sink. So line that up, trace it out, and to cut it, you're gonna need a, oh my gosh, a jigsaw, and drilled a little pilot hole, and I used a small scrolling blade for this. It's gonna have finer teeth, reduce tear out, and you just have to go slow. To get a nice circle, just cut slowly. You're not in a hurry. And then, ta-da! You have a circle. And you have a board with a hole in it. So take this inside, and I'm going to attach the side pieces or the backsplash pieces like in place. So you can see here, it actually fits in the corner, and I'm going to put these into place. Very, very carefully move the sink, like marked where they needed to be, moved the board. I didn't move the sink, I moved the boards, and used pocket holes to attach them. And I did have to take them out at one point and do some adjusting, and there's a lot of push this back, adjust, push it back, adjust, and then get everything together. And overall, I ended up being really happy with the way it fits. It is not perfect, but it fits nicely, and it'll be all good. So, yay. And then I needed to top coat it, which I didn't record, but I used, for reasons, I don't know what happened, I may have just lost the footage, used Helmsman Spar Urethane, used a water base, so it's indoor-outdoor formula. It can deal with moisture, and I think I ended up with like 5 or 6 coats. And you put a coat on, let it dry, do a little scuff sand, put another coat on, and you just keep going like that. I did the top, the bottom, and all of the exposed plywood sides, even if they're gonna be up against the wall. Everything got a top coat. I didn't do quite as many on the bottom or the cut sides, but a lot of top coat. Okay, so I'm in the bathroom, and I think this is where, like, you need to remember that anytime you're doing a project, you make your plans, and then you may have to adjust your plans. So originally, I knew there was a little bit of paint build up in some places here, and I knew the doors looked a little rough. My plan was mostly just like a light sanding, and honestly thought on this side, I could use liquid sandpaper and just kind of rough it up a little bit. And then, on the doors, I really started looking. Look at this. so I can't just, I mean, I could just paint over it. Obviously, you can. But I don't want it to look, it's also still dirty. But, this is, right? It would just make the paint underneath look rough. Also, there was a lot more paint build up at all the corners, like on here, and then along all these edges. There was a lot more than I thought there was. As soon as when I first noticed the doors, I was like, well, I'll take the doors off. And I took the doors off, and this happens. I was like, oh, this is a lot of paint. So it looks like there was a light yellow under here, and then the white got painted on top of it. So there was like a dark wood look, and then somebody painted a light yellow over it, and then the white got painted over that. So now I've taken my scraper and I've gone over everything. So if there was like a thick layer of paint, all of that has been dealt with, including on the corners and up here, so that I need to get that a little bit better. So that the thick layer of paint isn't there. And now I'm going to take some sandpaper and I'm going to sand all of this so that there's not that transition. I still need to get that a little bit more because that's still peeling. That's the other benefit to doing the scraper was, I'm not trying to get all the paint off, but anywhere it's peeling, I can kind of get that, and then I'll sand as well. And that'll help with that. So the white paint, as far as I can tell, wasn't really, it just kind of came off really easy. I don't think they did anything over the yellow before painting. So I actually got quite a bit of it off. So it's mostly yellow or than this up here. So I'm going to sand to make sure that this looks smooth when I paint over it. It's a transition that'll look nice. So we're going to do more sanding than I thought. And the side, it's the same way. It was just a big flat area, but it still doesn't look very nice. And then the doors, I'm taking outside, pulling these off. I'm going to clean up the hinges. Like if I'm doing this, I might as well go ahead and do it right. I'm going to wash or soak the hinges in hot vinegar in that mixture, and that'll loosen up the paint, and then I can get the paint off. And then I'm going to scrape so I can get these thick layers of paint and all these globs off, and then sand, and then I'll be ready to repaint. So, you know, anytime you make a plan, just be ready to adjust. Okay, that's where we are. Let's go work on the doors. It's still cool outside, so we're gonna work on the doors outside. Alright, so I was always scraping. I found this where it looked like there was like a design under the areas where it had been kind of lumpy. Like some of it's still just like kind of a swirly. I think it was on top of the yellow. Maybe like a kid's bathroom. So they painted those. Or maybe the woman who lived here before. I did chip the plywood. I had to glue it. Did I don't know. But I thought it was kind of cool. So I wanted to share. So here's the... Starting to lose my shade. Trying to keep my head out of the way. So here's the final, where I've sanded too. Just want to show you the like little swirlies. A spaceship, maybe, and there were some holes drilled along here that got filled. Spaceship, I think, a hat. I don't know. And this, I really wanted to see because it have these two little points. I don't know it. But anyways, somebody definitely put a lot of work into a cute little design on or into a hand-painted design on their bathroom. So anyway, it's all sanded. And then I'm gonna clean them up. And I'm gonna paint them for now. So I'm start with a light color. I'll probably do a darker color on the back. We'll see. So that's where we are. I just wanted to show you as much of the design as I could uncover. Or was willing to. So, here, doors are back on. This has been filled and it's smoothish. You can still see. This doesn't matter. Also, right, blue over there. Okay, so for thinking nautical, I was like, oh, I remember Crystal in the Crafty Creech recently painted an octopus, like she hand painted an octopus. And I was like, nautical, I need a nautical theme, and an octopus would be perfect because there's also the octopus toilet paper over there. It would be so pretty. And so I was absolutely inspired to buy some octopus and decoupage paper. I've managed to hand paint bluebonnets. I don't think we need to push me too far. So, it's called Arms of the Abyss, and it seems really pretty. So, I'm going to put it up here. Also, I don't know which side's supposed to be the back. Like, I've never been I've never had paper that looked as good on both sides. I guess I get to decide which way the octopus faces. Okay, so let's do it. We're gonna see how this goes. Because the handles or the pulls go here, I wanted to move the octopus down a little bit so that the eyes weren't like right next to the pulls. So it'll be a little bit. And then this will be where the door opens. Decoupage, varnish, and glue. That's my squeegee thing. Some plastic. A brush. I think I'm ready to give this a try. Also ended up deciding he should face that way. Or she. It's a she. She should face that way. Okay, put that there. Alright, so I know this may not be what most people think of the most efficient way to do this, but I was really not sure how I was going to handle the curved edges with this particular paper because you can't tear it to go around a corner. So I decided to just do like the center part of the doors where it's flat first, and then I can go back, right? So I just put a lot of glue on and then stuck this down. And I was talking to the camera, but I decided we didn't need my commentary. Okay, so what I'm explaining here, but it didn't come out very clear, was about the corners and how hard it was going to be to do the corners with this paper because you couldn't tear them. So I'm just doing the big flat part, pulling as I go. This paper stuck really well, and so I kind of pulled down and to the side as I went. So that helped kind of stretch it, I think, the right directions. The edges still ended up being, yes, I used it as a glove, a little bit of a struggle, like when it went over the corner and then onto the flat part right here, because I couldn't tear the paper. And even trying to cut it with because after I got it all glued down, I had to take a razor and like cut it. Even that was hard. Like it didn't want to cut. So there were some struggles, but overall, I think I overcame, and it looks good. And then for this paper, to sand off the edges was a struggle. You can see what it looks like when you tear it. It was terrible. So between trying to sand that off, it took a lot to just sand that edge and get that smooth. And the cut edges along where like the door is weren't very smooth, but the paper doesn't sand very easily, so those edges aren't super smooth. It'll be okay because it's a Vanity, but I don't know how I feel about it. So here, this is where like the doors will sit. So I painted this in this navy that I've been using, and then try to blend a little bit, not a lot, it's not a smooth edge. Brought this down where the paper sits here, and came down just a little bit here, so it wasn't just a smooth edge right there. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. And I didn't record me getting this paper down because there was nothing about that you should try to follow. But I will tell you what I did. So with the doors on, I cut a little slit for the hinges, and then I cut the paper across without cutting off the excess. And then I pulled the doors off, so, and then papered over everything. And the edges of the door as well. Doors, there's two doors. And then I have the paper here. And it wasn't perfect. Nothing but the message. It's not perfect. But it looks, I feel like it looks good. It looks really good with the doors up there. So now I'm just painting this. I did have some thoughts about some things to put up here and what I could do, but right now I just really like it with the paper, and I don't know what to add. Like originally I had thought like some like embellishments like with molds or stencils, and I don't know. So I'm leaving it for now, and then I can always go back and add later if I want to, right? That's the great thing about it being my bathroom and all the things. Also, something I thought about as I was working with the paper, the reason I didn't end up like trying to cut this edge off is that paper was really thick. It's like fabric. I mean, I know I've used that brand before when I did the cabinet for my stepmom and I did the paper on the back. So I don't know if you've used the redesign with Prima paper, is it always that texture? Like, doesn't cut as smoothly either. It kind of not tears. It's like trying to pull fabric apart. So, is that just what that brand is like? I think this is only like the second time I bought that particular brand. Also considering I don't decoupage all that much. So I'm curious. Is that a brand thing? And we're getting so close because now it's time to just reattach the doors. And I did poke holes in the paper so I could see where the screws went and lined everything up. Screwed those on. Look how good it looks. And then used my straight edge to poke a little hole. Couldn't find it. Poke a little hole in the paper for the pool. And the pool I got years ago at a certain store. I don't even know how many years it's been. I think it was shortly after we moved in here. So almost a decade. And look, the doors clear each other. They don't actually hit. I was so excited. I was worried with the paint and everything. And Ollie says hi. Okay, so then I'm reattaching I did nothing to the toilet paper holder. Again, I got this at the same time I got the drawer pulls years ago. And I decided I liked it, so I washed it up and left it as is. I did not actually change anything. And this just sits on these two little screws like that. And then, you know, toilet paper goes over when you're putting that on. It goes over. Okay.
Everything's fine. Nothing to see here. Didn't go crazy.
And I wanted to do a little bit of gold on the hinges. I'd spray painted them black, but I didn't want to leave them black. And I'm dry brushing this, so get a little bit of the gilding wax on there and then wipe a lot of it off. So there's just a little bit. And I did the same to the pulls, but I used my finger, so I didn't overdo it. So dab your finger in there and then wipe off the excess. So I get just on top of the ridges, and that really makes that texture pop. And it's about time for the reveal. So I would love to hear what your favorite part is. Comment below. Also, please share this video, do all the things, subscribe. It helps me out, but it doesn't cost you anything. So here we go. As always, thanks for watching, and stay tuned to find out what Heather does next time.